Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into BitcoinOS, a project with a seriously massive ambition to unlock the full potential of the world's original cryptocurrency and, really, to write its next chapter.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why Bitcoin even needs a next chapter. Then, we'll explore this crowded, kind of confusing world of Bitcoin layers. After that, we'll zoom right in on BitcoinOS itself, what it is, how the tech works, and most importantly, the real-world impact it's already starting to have.
All right, first things first, Bitcoin's next chapter. You see, to really get what a solution like BitcoinOS is all about, you first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve, and the incredible potential waiting on the other side.
This quote from the Sovereign blog, it really nails the core idea here. The goal isn't to mess with Bitcoin's fundamental code. No way. It's about building on top of it. And that single idea is the engine driving this huge wave of innovation we're seeing right now. Now, take a look at this number. It is absolutely staggering. Over $2 trillion. That's the value of all the Bitcoin out there that's pretty much just sitting there. It's not being used in modern applications like DeFi. Think of it like a giant sleeping pool of capital, just waiting for someone to figure out how to put it to work.
And this slide right here, it perfectly illustrates the big dilemma. I mean, Bitcoin is the undisputed king of security and decentralization, right? It's digital gold. But that incredible strength comes with some trade-offs. Its base layer just wasn't built for super fast transactions or the kind of complex smart contracts that power, well, the rest of the crypto world.
So that big problem leads us directly into this, an entire ecosystem of solutions. And with such a clear opportunity on the table, it's really no surprise that dozens and dozens of projects have jumped in, creating what you could call a very crowded landscape of these Bitcoin layers.
Okay, so the most important thing to get about these layers is that they're kind of like adding new floors to a skyscraper that has the strongest foundation on Earth. They add all this new functionality, speed, smart contracts, all that good stuff, but they're still leaning on the rock-solid, unmatched security of the main Bitcoin blockchain.
So with over 50 projects out there? How do you even begin to make sense of it all? Well, you can kind of group them into three main buckets. First, you've got payment channels, like the Lightning Network, perfect for zipping around small, quick payments. Then you have sidechains, which are basically their own separate blockchains that are bridged back to Bitcoin. And finally, there are rollups, which are all about efficiency. They bundle a ton of transactions together off-chain.
And this question gets to the very heart of the next big challenge. All this innovation is awesome, for sure, but it's all happening in these little silos. Each layer is its own little world, its own isolated island, and they can't really talk to each other. And that fragmentation, it's a huge hurdle. And that is where BitcoinOS comes in. It's a project with a vision that is, frankly, incredibly ambitious. The idea is to take all those separate islands and build bridges between them, connecting them into a single unified continent, a superchain for Bitcoin. At its core, this is the simple yet ridiculously powerful vision of BitcoinOS. You see, while other layers are busy trying to solve one specific problem, like faster payments or smarter contracts, BitcoinOS wants to be the universal translator, the thing that makes them all work together seamlessly.
So what is it, technically speaking? Well, it's a protocol that uses some really advanced cryptography, this stuff called zero-knowledge proofs, to create a framework where all these different layers can communicate, connect, and even share security. And it does it all without ever changing a single line of Bitcoin's original code.
The whole value proposition really boils down to these three key pillars. Number one, innovate on Bitcoin, but without ever compromising its security. Number two, unify this fragmented ecosystem. And number three, create tools that are so robust and secure that big institutions can finally feel comfortable building with Bitcoin.
So the big question is, how does BitcoinOS actually pull this off? How in the world does it achieve this massive vision of a unified superchain? All right, let's pop the hood and take a look at the core tech that's making it all possible.
The magic ingredient, the secret sauce here, is something called a ZK proof. Now, just think of it like this. It's a way to prove that a really complicated calculation is correct without having to show all your work. It's cryptographic magic. BitcoinOS uses a specific system called BitSnark to bundle up all the activity from its connected layers and present just one tiny, verifiable proof back to the main Bitcoin blockchain. It's just incredibly efficient.
Now, this whole ecosystem is coordinated by the BOS token,
And check this out. The max supply is 21 billion, which is a really cool nod to Bitcoin's 21 million. It's used to reward the operators who run the network, of course, but the really clever part is the incentive mechanism. See, all the network fees are paid in actual Bitcoin, and then those fees are used to buy back and burn BOS tokens. That creates this constant deflationary pressure on the token itself. Pretty smart. Okay, that's a lot of tech talk. Let's bring this all back from theory to practice. What does this actually mean in the real world? Who's using this stuff, and what are people saying about its potential? Because this is where it gets really exciting.
You know, this isn't just some idea on a white paper. Real-world projects are already building on BitcoinOS as their foundation. You've got LitVM, which is using it to bring smart contracts to Litecoin. And Sovereign, which is a huge player in Bitcoin DeFi, has been a key development partner right from the very beginning.
And this kind of technology just blows the doors wide open for a whole new universe of applications, all built on Bitcoin's unparalleled security. We're talking about complex, interoperable DeFi ecosystems, NFTs that are actually secured by Bitcoin, massive online games where Bitcoin is the real in-game currency, even networks that connect to real-world hardware, all of it anchored to Bitcoin.
And this huge potential, it has not gone unnoticed. You can see the chatter, the excitement building in online forums. This one user on Reddit points out that if BitcoinOS actually delivers on its promise, it could unlock billions in liquidity. And that, as they say, could cause a major flip in the entire crypto landscape.
So at the end of the day, this is the big question we're left with. Can a project like BitcoinOS truly unite this fragmented ecosystem and establish Bitcoin, once and for all, not just as digital gold, but as the foundational backbone for a completely unified crypto economy? That right there is the multi-trillion-dollar question. And honestly, the answer is going to shape the future of this entire space.